Emotional scenes are playing out at the Presidential Summit on Gender-Based Violence. It's hoped today's engagement will see solutions being tabled. But as the summit concludes, activists say they want more than promises and actual concrete measures. Let's take you now to eNCA's Silindelo Masekane, who is out at the summit. Locators, Silindelo, where are we at this point? I mean, just a short while ago, Manqoba Mchunu reporting about that plea and sentencing agreement with that man who committed 148 sexual offences over a period of 9 years, including close to 90 rapes. And the question becomes, how is it possible that someone could get away with that for 9 long years if we had systems that would have worked very early on? I presume that's one of the conversations about accountability that has been coming through there.
Yeah, the Justice Minister, Ronald Lamola, had to face a lot of tough questions around how the courts are failing survivors of gender-based violence, how, the courts are not really playing their part in terms of ensuring that perpetrators don't get bail, for example, or ensuring that there are lengthy sentences for those who are actually perpetrators of gender-based violence. Now, of course, it is day 2 of the summit, Tulas, and we do have more heated discussions taking place around the fact that social development is having to account, Treasury is having to account, and in fact, one of the organizations that has just addressed the panel is Pete Lungubala, who represents the albinism community. And you've been quite vocal since yesterday to say that your community, that is also quite vulnerable, is being ignored in this summit. Maybe take us through some of your concerns.
Yeah, good day. Our concern is that albinism society is definitely segregated by our government. Our government doesn't work with albinism society, NPOs and all. We have children. In school they are not accommodated. And in a nutshell, we are growing albinism people who are unemployable. So it is only correct that we correct this at the early stage. Our children need to attend school like anybody else. So reasonable accommodation in schools, we need it. We need our children to attend school. And we also want those who went out of school, let them employ them in the employment that doesn't require matric. For instance, what I've already spoken about, packaging sunscreen packages, it doesn't need matric. One can also do it. You just pick and put in the plastic. It doesn't need matric. Then that's one will be able to work and earn something at the end of the month, so that they can be able to feed their families. So that's in a nutshell. That's what we want to see happening. Social development must come to party, discuss with us and see how do we assist albinism people, because that is the society that is left out. We develop cancer. You can see, look at me, I don't have one ear. I had multiple operations, up to 9 now, operations. So this is because we develop cancer at the early stage. So parents need to be educated about albinism. Albinism itself need to be legislated as a disability, so that when albinism people goes to SASSA, this SASSA doctors stop telling albinism people that they must go and look for employment, because what they are saying it's absolutely nonsense. They need to make sure albinism is a disability. They do not have to judge us based on the eyesight, while the skin itself is a disability. They need to make sure that when albinism people applies for a disability grant, they need to grant. What are you going to assess from this skin? Is this skin going to change one day? No. So what are you assessing from any person with albinism? So albinism people are disabled, and doctors must just write, must just approve the application of any albinism person coming to SASSA to apply for a grant.
One of your last comments when you were addressing the panel was around the disadvantages that women with albinism are facing. Maybe take me through that comment as well.
The disadvantages. Look, women with albinism, they had a lot of disadvantages. As I have spoken to you about being unemployable. And again, you find that because one is not employed, now she end up being in an incorrect relationship. It's a disadvantage. And then GBV is going to hit that person more than a normal person, you see. So hence we say there are a lot of disadvantages for our people, a lot. And remember, some, due to their eyesight, are not even able to can get driver's licenses and all that. And driver's license is a requirement these days. So are we included in that note? No. So it's a disadvantage. Sometimes you've got matric, but because the position wants the driver's license, then you are not qualifying because of that. So those are the things that needs to be changed. And the only way to do that is only to come to us as civil society and discuss, so that you know our challenges, and we try and minimize wherever we can.
Lastly, do you have hope that the summit will address some of the concerns you've raised?
Yes, indeed. I do have hope, because I've spoken to few of the ministers here, and then they seem to be very much interested in trying to assist. So
comment as well from the president yesterday in meeting, to actually recognize, the issues that we raised yesterday. We do have hope. However, I think one of the most cries as well that I can just add on. It's a robust awareness that needs to be created. Reach out to the people in the rural areas. Reach out, to the people at the grassroots level. Reach out to everywhere, communities, clinics, schools. Start educating, people with albinism. Because as my colleague is saying, that we suffer, triple, disadvantages in terms of, the albinism condition that we have. You may be in a relationship, right, with someone, and then you give birth to a child that also has albinism. They will accuse you of sleeping, with a white man, and then you're giving them a child. Then that's where the abuse also starts. But they actually approached you knowing very well that you have albinism. This is a genetic condition. It's not something that we can just, wake up and then we say we're giving birth to children with albinism. We need robust trainings, to people. We need robust awareness. We cannot wait for June 13 International Albinism Awareness, and then we wait for September 13 Albinism Awareness Month. Let's start from, the grassroots level. Teach our young kids, teach everybody. Let's not hide our children as parents that are having children with albinism. Let us educate our children, because another thing that a lot of our kids not being employed is parents hiding their children because they are scared of the society. It's a subject that is very much segregated, that is not addressed to. Mental issues that are within the people with albinism that are not being at forth. Nothing that is being discussed about that. But yes, we suffer from mental health, I must say. For people from like us, I'm well educated and I'm working, but at the same time, we also need to be supported. Reasonable accommodation, give us big screens, give us, if you're going to have a presentation, make sure that your font is able to accommodate me as well, so that I can be able to participate. Because at the end of the day, it cripples me. Yes, I'm very much capable, and then I'm going to be suffer bullying or be told that I'm not performing. Yet I know my capability. Having an albinism, yes, we know that it's a disability, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not able to do.
Lastly, I just wanted you to address the issue around muti killings. I know that your community suffers a lot from that. Do you think law enforcement is addressing it adequately?
Not yet. No, not at all, actually. We have many cases, and it doesn't only start about the muti case. It also starts about cases that are opened by albinism people in police stations that are not taken serious. Hence, it went on and on until the killings comes. You know, the only case I've seen that it was well attended to, it's only the Gabisile case.
Yes.
That is the only case,
Yes.
but the other cases, definitely no.
We still don't know about Tolagele's case.
Tolagele's case,
we
we
still
don't
do not
know.
know.
So many cases.
So many cases.
So it's
Yeah.
only the Gabisile's case that was attended to, and thanks to Trifina in Mpumalanga, because she played a very significant role in making sure that this case is attended to. But others, definitely, we don't get joy.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
much. Thank you. All right, Tulas, those are just some of the conversations we're having here at this summit, and I think you can tell just by this conversation just how crucial this dialogue, this gathering is. And I think by the end of the day, communities like those that we just spoke to now, that are living with what they believe to be a disability and that the government needs to recognize as a disability, they also want answers, they also want to be recognized, and they also want to feel safe in this country. So the conversations continue, and of course we will be bringing you updates as those developments take place.